So, Mark, did you see that photo that I took of all the boats in Lake Mead just to disprove your theory that no boats are ever out there? I flew in from Denver last Sunday and it was full of activity.
I don't know. It was a pretty grainy photo, and it looks just like Whitecaps. But maybe it was like one of those windy days when they canceled concerts, and it was just like little waves that you're seeing. I don't see any boats moving. I don't know. I think this is all spoof.
Well, I do have video to prove it too. It's not the greatest video because of the angle, but I filmed everything coming in. It was a great little shot coming into town. It was windy and hazy outside, a little rough, but good to see so many people out enjoying the lake in this weather, which was cool for the weekend. But, you know, the summer, it's too brutal.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that they'd be out when it's super windy and not the warmest, but you can't wait till peak summer either because you'll sweat your balls off.
Let's start with Circus Circus, which made international news in the Daily Mail based off of TikTok video. This went around a week or two ago, showing huge lines to get the elevators. Half the elevators were down for renovation. Circus Circus has since said that they've fixed them. But then this person sort of went viral and Daily Mail was sensationalizing it. And she also said somebody broke into her room, that the roller coaster wasn't safe at Adventure Dome. She really trashed them top to bottom.
Was she staying at the Rio or what? She wasn't even at Circus Circus, no. But I mean, that's kind of Daily Mail making things over the top. And then also just now it seems like all they do is report on TikTok videos. But this is kind of a gripe that I have with Vegas at certain properties. You know, Link has a problem with this. We've seen it at like Flamingo at times, where the elevators run really slow and you can get stuck there. And there's nothing worse than you wanting to get back to your room quickly, or maybe you have to go grab something that you forgot and you're just waiting in this line for 20 or 30 minutes to go up. And Luxor is notorious for this too, having certain banks of elevators closed down. It's just, we need to keep that moving. These are huge hotels. You need fast elevators. You need more than a lot of these places have. And that's why sometimes I try to book like a first floor room or second floor room, like at the Link, the one that goes out to the pool. You could walk to it. It was perfect. It was a way to avoid all of this.
And she points out, and this is true, when things are like that and you have these big lines, which the video shows that line stretching, you know, past the SpongeBob ride, pretty crazy. But then they also shove a million people into those elevators, so they're slow, and then the ride up is miserable as well. So never fun there. But one more thing, she validated, I talked on the last show about the leaks at Circus Circus, that I hadn't seen it at the Adventure Dome in a while. And she even mentions that it was leaking during her visit. So I guess that problem is not fixed.
Yeah, it was like perfect timing on that. But I think just Vegas as a whole, if it's raining, isn't the greatest experience with all the leaks you see everywhere. So maybe stay away during wet season, unless you want to see Lake Link, you know, in person when it floods.
Adjacent to Lake Link is Sphere. We're not far away. And let's talk Sphere. So there's another act coming, and it's not Beyonce. It's not Harry Styles. Apparently, it's Zach Brown, somebody who I'm not very familiar with, a popular country music singer. And he leaked on the Theo Von podcast that he's coming up, but the Sphere won't confirm anything. So that seems to be their next act. Are you excited?
I mean, I know a couple of his songs. I'm not huge into it or anything like that, but I think it's a bigger name in the country space. So I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are excited and kind of a break away from classic rock and more of that genre. So at least it's something a little bit different. We've been asking them, let's move on and see if we can do something else a little bit different. So this is nice. It's weird that they won't just admit that it's him when he came out and said it, unless they haven't like finalized the paperwork. It just seems strange on their end being like, oh, we don't talk about it until we announce it. That was a little bit weird to me.
It's strange we're this deep into the Sphere being open and we still don't have more acts. But Zach Brown did say it's the greatest canvas ever created, and to be one of the first bands to go in there and do it, this is our masterpiece. So he's excited, and that means he's going to put on a great show. So for his fans, this is a good thing.
Yeah, I think that's what everybody should look at this like. It's something unique. I mean, 10, 20 years from now, there might be a ton of Sphere-like atmospheres, but to get in there in the first couple years, you get to give your fans something that they can't have anywhere else, and a lot of acts won't be able to replicate. So I don't know why people aren't lining up to do it, especially if they're giving a huge cut of the tickets like they did with U2 and stuff like that. Just get in there and put on the show for your people.
So the Sphere has one more thing to talk about. The NHL Draft was announced to be at the Sphere, and tickets are on sale now for the draft, June 28th and June 29th. So Mark, do you think this is a cool use of the venue to see a draft live, or would you rather go pay billions of dollars to watch the NFL draft on a screen at Circa.
Yeah, billions of dollars. I don't know. It's weird. Like, I went to the NFL draft when it was in Detroit. It was cool to check out. It was free. Basically, if you wanted to go, you could go. So having it in this type of venue definitely limits access, which is the downside. But I think it'd be a unique feature of it. You know, we've talked about, like, when the Knights are playing in the playoffs, they should have it on, the game on in the Sphere, so people can go watch it there and experience it together. I think that there definitely is a good use for this for sports. I don't know if a draft is like the best use of it. I think it's something cool if you're a big hockey fan to be able to go in there and check it out. But I don't know, drafts just overall are kind of boring to me, so I just kind of imagine that they're all the same in that aspect.
So our next news is exciting for some, not exciting for others, but there's a visual that came out this week of the Mirage marquee, the screen turned off, part of the casino ripped out on the sign, and this is the first sign that we're moving towards heavy construction over at Mirage / Future Hard Rock, Las Vegas.
I don't know, it just looks like it had a windstorm and broke, and part of it broke up. It doesn't seem like they went and did this. I don't know why you wouldn't just knock the whole thing down if that was the case. Maybe they will in the next couple of days, but it just looks bad. So hopefully it's not up there for long that way.
Yeah, it could be. We don't know if they're tearing it down or maybe the storms came in and damaged it. Probably not going to get repaired, brought back to its former glory considering all the changes that are coming. And heading a little bit north and across the street, that tower at Venetian, the old St. Regis Tower that they started building 15 years ago, that's been sitting there with the giant crane on top. Well, there's some activity there. We talked on a few shows ago about the $1.5 billion investment. We don't know anything specifically on if they're going to finish this tower or what they're going to do with it, or maybe they're dismantling it. Really not clear at this point, but the cranes were seen out there lifting materials, and that's the first time we've seen anything there in quite a long time.
I know that was like the number one comment on that video was, are they going to move the crane? What are they doing with the crane? When are they going to do something with that? So hopefully they end up moving, because it does look terrible. I mean, the crane definitely you can see from everywhere, but when you get to that area and you can see the unfinished product just sitting there, I wish they would, start focusing on that, work it up. With all these new people coming online and people looking to expand and the prices where they're at now, the last couple of years was probably the time to get that done. Maybe they are doing it now. Let's hope. I bet you they would have announced that if that was the case, but it'd be cool if they started working on that and finishing it up.
At the very least, maybe enclose the building and turn what's already built into something, or make it look decent. The scrim has been up there forever, and the only reason they put the scrim up is because they were required to. And I'm surprised that the crane still works. I mean, it's been sitting there forever, just sort of exposed. So I guess that's a win. Maybe it was just a test to see if they can use it for something. So we wanted to talk about our new show really quick, 20-Minute Travel, our new YouTube show. It's on a different channel. It's in the style of MTM Vegas, but we're going to talk about credit card rewards, travel, miles, points, show you how to save money, not just on trips to Vegas, but everywhere, flying in premium cabins, saving on hotels, elite status, all of that stuff that we do as our day jobs. And we would appreciate you guys subscribing.
Yeah, I mean, join us over there if you want to save money on your trips to Vegas, or you want to go overseas or whatever. We can help you out there, and hopefully it's, quick hitting and fun, similar to what we do here.
So we're launching the channel. It's already launched. The first episode is up. We would appreciate if you love our content, go over there, subscribe, watch the show, comment, give us a like, help us build that channel as quickly as possible. We really appreciate all of you. If that's not for you, perfectly okay. Let's get back to the Vegas stuff and talk Pinkbox, Mark. They're expanding. Everybody loves to hate Pinkbox. It's funny, we talked about the donuts in Vegas, and there's a lot of people who don't like Pinkbox, and then a lot of people who love them, but they're spreading everywhere, including Boulder City and Pahrump. So Pahrump is growing up in the world, and there were some funny jokes on X or Twitter about some of the exclusive flavors for Pahrump.
Well, I mean, don't people already go to Pahrump for Pinkboxes?
I mean, now they can get the donuts too.
It was pretty funny, the names they came up with, like cinnamon roll served by somebody named Cinnamon and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was a good one. Also, maple bacon with bits of gravel, which I thought was pretty creative. And so Pinkbox is there. Wrestlemania is coming to Vegas. This was a story that was rumored. A lot of people had rumored that this was coming to the Sphere, but it is not coming to the Sphere. It's coming to Allegiant Stadium, April 19th and 20th of 2025. And they were really excited for Allegiant Stadium. I guess Wrestlemania hasn't been here before, or it just seemed from the press release. I would have figured that at some point Wrestlemania would have been in Vegas before.
Yeah, maybe the other wrestling, because I feel like our buddy Ryan has gone to something in Vegas that's wrestle related, but maybe it wasn't Wrestlemania. It's kind of fitting that it's in Allegiant because everybody thinks the NFL is scripted now, just like wrestling. So you're playing in that venue. It works perfectly. But no, it's cooler, more seating, more accessibility to people. The tickets should be a little bit cheaper versus if it was in the Sphere, even though I think it would be really, really cool in the Sphere.
Yeah, I imagine they want to sell a lot more tickets, and Allegiant has many, many more seats than the Sphere does. So hopefully we'll get UFC, and Dana White will bring the first sporting event to the Sphere. I know he has said Mexican Independence Day. I don't think anything's been confirmed yet, but it would be really cool to see UFC there. But WrestleMania coming. I haven't ever been to WrestleMania, but I grew up watching Hulk Hogan and the WWF, and maybe I should get back into it. It does sound like a lot of fun to watch live.
You're in the environment and everybody's cheering and loud, and they put on a spectacle. They've been doing it for a long time, so I think it'll be good. And if it is the first time in Vegas, hopefully it becomes a regular thing.
So we're a little performance heavy today, entertainment heavy, but Keith Urban announced a limited engagement at Blue Live at Fontainebleau. And it's very surprising that they call this a limited engagement because it's 10 dates between October of this year and February of next year. So 5 in October, 5 in February. Any other casino would have called this a residency.
Yeah, I think you only need like 3 dates to be called a residency these days. We talked about it on the last episode how they've been finding their groove a bit. People are giving rave reviews about staying there and the food and all that. So adding shows and maybe they can keep that thing going. And I think there's a really good comment in the last video, like they root for Fontainebleau and Resorts World because they aren't Caesars. And I said, yeah, they're not Caesars or MGM, which is big. We always say we want more independent brands. So hopefully both of those are very successful.
Yeah, it's nuts how many negative comments about Caesars on the last video. A lot of people have noticed this, and it's not a huge thing for drinks. What does that mean for people who are gambling? They often get free drinks anyway, but this was for them to use out by the pool, use wherever they were on property. Even though it's a small thing, it's a big sign of other changes that have happened over the last few years, and it seems like a lot of people have been affected because there were a lot of angry comments.
Yeah, it's like spitting in your face, and the rumor is it was only 1,000 people that they cut off. And how much are you really saving on 1,000 people? It can't be that much worth it to one, upset loyal customers, and two, to get this press out there that makes everybody think you're cheap. It's just kind of a crazy move.
So do you remember the guy that was offering a $500,000 reward for information leading to finding the person who allegedly drugged him at the MGM mansions? Well, he's now doubled his reward to $1 million. And he's basically saying that he was drugged with ketamine in his drink, and then he lost $3.5 million. He shouldn't be responsible for it because somebody drugged his drink, and he was erratic. He cut himself. There's a lot of stuff, but apparently after this happened, on his arrival, he still stayed for his entire trip. MGM disputing this, and it's been in court for a while, but $1 million if you know who did it.
Yeah, I don't know. Is this just throwing good money in after bad? Well, I guess he doesn't have to pay it until somebody comes forward, but I think they would have come forward already. Or if you did you go to the hospital and get tested to see if you had ketamine in your system? If you have that, then that's a thing. But I put a lot of it on the friends. He had friends there, and they let him blow through $3.5 million in 30 minutes, it seems like. Maybe that was his norm. I don't know, but you think that they would have pulled him away a little bit quicker than that.
Yeah, they let him up his limit 3 times, including twice in 10 minutes. And he did test positive for ketamine. That's where he gets that from. But his friends were there, and this all happened right at his arrival. Says he ordered an old-fashioned that tasted weird. And then it started from there. Crazy story, because again, we all know that not just anybody can wander into the mansions. This is a very closed off, very exclusive space.
Yeah, it's pretty bizarre. Maybe it was one of his buddies, like just trying to spike it to have a good time, and he doesn't want to come forward.
Stranger things have happened in Vegas for sure. They're not a good friend until they've drugged you in Vegas.
Exactly. They watched The Hangover and they just wanted to recreate it, I guess. I don't know.
So staying at MGM Grand, the former MGM Grand president, also the former president of Resorts World, Scott Sibella, he was charged with not reporting suspicious activity, basically money laundering laws, in violation of those. He pled guilty to that, and he will serve 200 hours of community service and fined $9,500 and probation. So not a big penalty for him. It's a big, complicated story, but basically he was alleged to have turned his eye to all of it. But the Gaming Control Board still has a say in this, and they can fine him up to $750,000. So he isn't out of the woods yet. $9,500, that man has a lot more than that sitting around.
Yeah, I have to imagine that they're going to hit him a little bit harder on that end of things. And this is kind of the first time I think that anybody's had to go through something like this, or they've actually enforced it on an individual. At least if I remember right, that's what some of the comments said. when we talked about this originally. So it's good to see them do that, and maybe this will get other people to not think that they can just turn a blind eye and take the money in and all that stuff. We'll have to see how it all plays out, but I have to imagine he's going to get hit with more than just that. What does that mean even? It's not going to stop anybody from doing anything. $9,500.
Yeah, and I wonder he'll be completely banned from ever working in the casino again. So they have a lot of power to do stuff. So they're really the authority that he needs to worry about. But at least the court case is behind him, and he did plead guilty. He's trying to move on with his life. So hopefully he's allowed to do that. But still some hurdles to go there. And I'm excited now for this final story, Mark, because we get to talk about Papa Giorgio. Because the union doesn't go away. Papa Giorgio's been wanting to strike with the union for the last year. And every time he got close, the casinos caved and it kind of gave in. And now he's saying that Virgin, they're one of the last holdouts for this new union contract. And he's saying they're going to strike tomorrow, May 10th through Sunday. So they're going to strike this weekend, although Virgin is trying to stop it, saying that they haven't negotiated in good faith and they're trying to get mediation going. So hopefully they work it all out.
I love how we make him Papa Giorgio, but isn't it just Papa George? And we had the EO for for Vegas Vacation. But this is kind of strange because we've seen every other casino kind of make their deal, and you think that Virgin would have that already in front of them, like, hey, this is what we did at this casino, and would just match something similar, knowing that that's where it's going to go. So I'm surprised that the last one is holding out so long when everybody else has kind of come to the table and done what they needed to do. So hopefully they end up doing that and everybody is okay and they can move forward and it isn't too bad for either side, or maybe we want both sides to hate it because that means it's a good deal. But we'll have to wait and see. But the other big news is what? Mohegan Sun is out, right?
That is the other big news. And you wonder, this has been such a disjointed property, and maybe that has something to do with the culinary contract. But Mohegan Sun announced that they are leaving Virgin Hotels. One of the biggest, complaints about the property is how disjointed it is. Not only is the casino run by Mohegan and the hotel run by Hilton/Virgin, and then you got Hudson running the airport shops, and other restaurants are all owned by individual things. And this isn't going to fix all of that. But under this new thing, by the end of this year, they're saying Virgin will be running the casino as well.
Yes, I think this is what we all envisioned at the beginning when this launched, and we were excited for it. Richard Branson usually has pretty creative ideas, and he comes up with cool designs and all that stuff. And we kind of expected it to be a little bit sexier, very similar to Hard Rock, but maybe just like modernized a bit. And that's not at all what we got. So hopefully he comes in that team and they kind of recreate this thing a bit. They have it in pieces like the shag room and stuff, and they just need to extend that out further throughout, not like a full remodel, just kind of make it a bit more fun.
They really do need to lighten the place up. I've said this since it opened. They have that lobby with all those windows. It's very bright. It's very airy. I don't love the fake plants, but it's a very airy space. And then the casino is just very dark. And I don't know how much money they're going to have to spend to renovate it, just considering it just opened a couple years ago. But anything they could do to lighten it up, but bring back the center bar. It was such a mistake to take that out. Bring it back to its old glory. Put it in the middle. Lighten up the casino. But I'm sure the loyalty program will be a big part of this. And if they come out with something very generous, trying to attract locals, like we've seen with Rio Rewards, that could be a game changer because, as I've talked about before, the Momentum program isn't all that great.
We've learned one thing this year. It's never take away the center bar. Always put the center bar in. Every place that's added a center bar or opened up with a center bar, like Fontainebleau, their center bar is amazing. We've seen it at the Dirty Castle. The center bar there looks great, and it's always busy. And the one, like, I went there just for that center bar. The first time I ever went to Hard Rock was because I heard about the echoing and all that stuff. It like drew people in. Why would you take that out? Makes no sense. So hopefully that's the first thing Branson does when they come in.
But Las Vegas hasn't seen a culinary strike, I think, since the 90s. I remember being here and the Frontier workers were on like a permanent strike or a semi-permanent strike. And you'd always see people on the strip with signs. And we've seen, echoes of that this last year where they were threatening it. And they had those demonstrations. They had that big organized sit-in where they got arrested. Let us know what you guys think about that. Are you excited that Mohegan Sun is leaving town? That's one of the first tribal operators in town now leaving. So that's an interesting aspect of that story as well. The Scott Sibella stuff, the Sphere, everything else we talked about, boats in Lake Mead. Let us know in the comments. We do 2 shows a week, Tuesdays and Fridays, and we'll be back in a couple days with another show. Check out 20 Minute Travel. We're really excited for it. Thanks for your support. Have a great weekend.
All I could think of when you said boats in Lake Mead is boats.
I'm going to have to bleep that if I keep it in.
Yeah. Yeah, keep it in and just be boats and beep.